Okay, look, I know, Super Mario Sunshine is one of the most covered games on the internet. You can't go 10 feet without tripping on a YouTuber who's thrown their novelty Mario hat into this particular ring. But it's not without good reason. After Mario 64 completely upset the gaming landscape and kicked off the 3D platformer boom that basically pervaded until Grand Theft Auto 3 upset the gaming landscape again, all eyes were on Nintendo to see how they'd follow it up. And then their next console had the most powerful hardware of the bunch, and games on it could handle this. And look like this? Let's just say when Mario Sunshine showed up and said,
I judge the defendant guilty as charged. I hereby order the defendant to clean this entire island.
it wasn't exactly what people expected. Fully voice-acted cutscenes, a hydro-powered jetpack also fully voice-acted, and perhaps weirdest of all by Mario standards, a dense, cohesive world where every level adheres to one central theme. And for 20 years after, it has split the fanbase in half, which of course makes it nothing less than my sacrosanct duty to prove that this game is a timeless classic that stands as a worthy successor to Mario 64, perhaps even its superior. And while it may be a bit avant-garde, there's not a blemish on it that can tarnish its legacy. Or not really. Look, it's got its flaws, but I just think Mario Sunshine is both a joyful and fascinating experience that these days functions as a time capsule to a very different Nintendo. A Nintendo that, when expected to turn right, shifted gears and turned straight down, making some of the coolest, weirdest, least financially advisable decisions of the era. Mario Sunshine makes me ask questions like, how does a Mario game that scales everything back, that doesn't propel Mario through deserts, icelands, icy deserts, and fiery icelands, manage to not only avoid feeling stale, but manage to hit even greater heights? How does something as dynamic and overpowered as the FLUDD make it into a game like this without completely belittling its level design? Why doesn't Peach rock this hairstyle more often? These are among the questions I want to try and answer today. So with no further ado, let's put this game under a magnifying glass, go obsessively in depth, pull apart every detail. In other words, let's break down Super Mario Sunshine. So before you even see the title screen, the game launches in with a full pre-rendered cutscene, something completely alien to Mario games before this. But we're not diving into some big action set piece. We're on a plane, surrounded by the familiar sounds of travel. The world of Mario's always been fantastic enough that I think even seeing a plane feels almost anachronistic, but it evokes a very deliberate set of emotions. Anticipation combined with relaxation. In short, the beginning of a vacation.
Ooh, look at that!
Funnily enough, voice acting really isn't something that sets this game that far apart. There's definitely more of it than in any Mario game prior. Well, almost any Mario game.
Oh boy, finally, I'ma get to move on the ground. Here we go. Moving on the ground, moving on the ground.
But this certainly isn't the first time we've heard Peach's voice.
Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I have baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool. Peach.
Alright, let's check out this archipelago real fast. See what kind of island destinations we're missing out on in this game. We've got a crab island, a jellyfish island. I'm gonna assume that's the island of Tortuga. That might be meant to be a little fish shape. This could be like some kind of seabird. And then over here we just have this island-shaped island, which I'm pretty sure is actually meant to be Hawaii, though I think this red line is meant to be the Earth's equator, and Hawaii is over 1,000 miles north of that. Yes, I'm nitpicking this game's fictional geography. What did you think you signed on for?
Welcome to the sun-drenched tropical paradise of Isle Delfino. We're so pleased to welcome you to our beautiful home.
Hey, can you guys in the back, like, blink or something? You're freaking me out.
Come enjoy a natural wonderland to which we've added the world's finest resort facilities, a spectacular amusement park, and succulent seafood. All this and more await.
I see maybe two things in this picture that qualify as seafood, and literally everything else is some kind of plant. Calm down, Mario.
And more await you on Isle Delfino. Come relax and let us refresh your body and spirit.
Man, I wish my TV would do that, just pause itself anytime I noticed something I wanted a closer look at. Also, pretty obvious one, but I know it'd be pointed out to me if I didn't mention it. Peach notices this Mario silhouette jumping around up front here, but he was also hopping through the background a couple shots ago.
That shadow!
Toadsworth's just like, oh, I can't wait to ride the rides and fall into an incurable food coma. Also, this is the very first appearance of Toadsworth in any Nintendo game. He became almost a mascot of the GameCube over its lifespan, but he basically fell off the face of the earth after the launch of the Wii. Enjoy your time here while you've got it, old bean. Oh, and it is criminal how little time they give you to look at this shot. Let me hold it right here. We'll come to know this island extremely well over the next several hours, so I'm not going to point out exactly what every detail is, but know that basically everything we see here is significant. And if you've already played the game yourself, I bet you can already name every landmark. Woohoo! That's just iconic. Now this title screen doesn't have a whole ton to it, though I do love how it handles its menu when you hit start. Fully in control of Mario as you jump around the save file blocks and options screen. Makes a way stronger impression than a standard drop-down menu. But now's gonna be the best time for me to share what version of the game you're gonna be seeing as we go forward. Primarily, we'll be using the Mario 3D All-Stars version of this game that released in 2020. A full HD widescreen remaster of the original game. Now it's worth noting that this version has a bit of a reputation for being something of a botched port, with a number of weird graphical issues being present as a result of how the Switch emulates it. But all those issues have been patched since its release, so I do feel it's the definitive version of this game at time of recording. However, there are a number of things I still want to show from the GameCube version, so whenever it's called for, we'll be switching over to that. You'll know which version you're seeing by whether or not you get these black bars on the side of the screen indicating the GameCube's 4:3 resolution. I bring this up now because our first difference is here on the title screen. The Switch version will idle until the sun burns out, but let the GameCube version idle long enough and it'll play this little demo reel. This footage actually uses a couple sound effects and visuals from a pre-release version of this game. But other than that, most of what we're seeing here isn't too noteworthy. What is cool is the song playing beneath it, which isn't heard at any other point in this game. It's just called Opening Demo, but it's this super boppin' islandy remix of the original Mario Bros. Underwater theme. Okay, I'd say it's finally time we pushed a button around here, huh? Of course, we're not gonna get very far. We got another cutscene to start us off. Okay, this overview is a texture, not a 3D model? What's up with that? There is so much wrong with this. How in the world were we cleared to land if the runway has a crater in it? And if we just had to land, there is an awful lot of open water around here that I think probably would have served for an emergency.
What happened?
Peach's earrings turned into her eyes during a couple of these shots? How does that happen?
What's this icky paint like goop? It's moving!
Now, now, boys, don't touch that stuff.
And then in this shot, they're weirdly small. Listen, earring continuity is extremely important to me.
Excuse me, but... Huh?
I am most concerned with the well-being of the princess in this dreadful heat. Master Mario, if you would, cross over to that shore and find some assistance.
A weird regional difference right here. In every version of this game, all the voice acting is in English, you just get some different subtitles. But for some reason, in the Japanese version of this game, you get a couple extra voice lines from Mario and Toadsworth in this scene.
Looks like a giant empty. I imagine you'll be spending a fair amount of time at the princess's side.
Okay, we are officially in control. Welcome to Delfino Airstrip, a fantastic tutorial of a level, giving us tons of freedom to explore Mario's moveset at our own pace. If you've played other Marios, Sunshine Mario has a couple odd quirks to him in comparison. Most notably, he can ground pound with the best of them, but pressing the ground pound button on the ground only centers the camera. This means he can't crouch, and by extension, can't long jump or backflip. It's a weird omission, but it's okay. Our go-to jump in this game for both height and distance is going to be the spin jump, done by rotating the control stick and jumping. Now let's explore around for a little bit. Literally every single NPC in this game has something to say if you talk to them, but I'm only gonna make a point to show dialogue I think is funny or interesting. Like this Ukelele guy, who says he's given out tourist maps. You don't have to talk to this guy to get access to the map menu, but in-universe, I think this is how Mario's supposed to have one. Welcome to Isle Delfino, the glittering jewel of the southern seas. The sun is always shining here, so come and visit. Who made this map and wrote text over top this black boat? Okay, picturesque bays, rolling hills, quaint villages, and more await you. That's what it says, and I only know this because of data mining. Delfino Tours, you ought to fire your map guy. Now, there are a couple things we can click on this screen and learn a little bit about the locals and the locales, like the airstrip, and nope, I'm not even gonna try and read that, you can't make me. And the piantas. This game has a lot of Italian words in it, and I will be translating every time we come across one. Starting off simple, the word pianta means plant, and the word Delfino means dolphin. It's relatively common knowledge these days, but when Nintendo was developing the GameCube, its internal codename was Project Dolphin, and a number of GameCube games include homages to that codename. While we're talking about it, I think it's worth noting that Isle Delfino may be based off of a real island off the coast of Italy, called Il Gallo Lungo. In terms of Delfino's culture as a vacation destination, it definitely draws more from the likes of Hawaii, but if it wasn't at least partially inspired by this island, that'd be a remarkable coincidence. If we head over to the third island of this airstrip and climb all the way up this pole, we can find what I can only assume is Isle Delfino's flag. These symbols on it don't seem to mean anything, they're just a random series of Roman numerals, and I don't think they work out to any real number since they're all out of order. Okay, I think it's finally time we try to do something about the goop, which I suppose I better acknowledge is in a pattern that looks an awful lot like our face. Help? Help you? Are you crazy? We're the ones who need help. Take that water pump and clean the airstrip, you... Alright, fine, man. I just thought the details were important. Okay, here we go. Introducing the most controversial core Mario mechanic since underwater levels.
Power up complete. Thank you for purchasing this item from Gadd Science Incorporated.
Gadd Science is of course a reference to Professor E. Gadd from the Luigi's Mansion series, which remarkably might have been specifically chosen to explain how this tiny tank holds so much water.
Preparing to register customer information. Scanning and classifying subject data. Subject identified as Mario, resident of the Mushroom Kingdom. Data storage complete.
Now, one thing I don't love about this remaster is that most of the textures appear to have been AI upscaled, which works great for, like, walls, not so much for text. So a lot of the text is actually easier to read in the original version. Let's take a look here and see what we have. Up here on top we have OYOS version 7.01 Service Pack 7.1, which sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook, but the OY operating system is probably a reference to EGAD's Japanese name, which is Oyama, and it's been speculated that the version 7 is a reference to the fact that Sunshine is the 7th Super Mario title, as long as you don't count both versions of Super Mario Bros. 2. Speaking of, you can also read this text down here. Though it is backwards, it lists several past Mario games. Mario Bros, Super Mario Bros, Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart, okay, Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, and finally, Mario Sunshine. The rest of the text up here is a bunch of low-resolution Japanese, so neither I nor my computer can read it, so I'm just gonna have to take the word of the Super Mario Bros. Fan site that this translates to Mario of the Mushroom Kingdom. Nemesis, Bowser. Occupation, plumber. Favorite food, spaghetti. Loves which person? Secret. Yeah, sure it is. Dislikes, poison mushroom. Body weight, secret. Height, unknown. Chromosome number, unknown. Father's name, unknown. Mother's name, unknown. Unfortunately, it seems we're out of luck for this block of text here. Maybe someday. In addition, we've got a couple clips of Mario's old games in the lower corner here. The original Mario Bros, Mario World, and Mario 64. A ton of really nice touches for such a blink and you'll miss it scene.
I am FLUDD, a flash liquidizer ultra dowsing device. I hope to be of assistance. Proceeding with user instruction.
Now FLUDD's gonna explain how they work, which is all well and good, but something this game gets a lot of flack for is all these cutscenes being unskippable. Though, that's not actually true. If for any reason you end up rewatching a scene that's already played, like say you're insane and you say, yes, I would like to hear your explanation again, please, you are completely free to skip it. If we save and reset, we can skip every cutscene we've seen so far. It's honestly not that bad. But now we have FLUDD, the high-powered, all-purpose water gun jetpack sprinkler that's gonna be our constant companion. And we can freely begin washing our face off this airstrip, but hold on, cause there's a lot of fun to be had with this icky paint-like goop. If we have enough patience, and believe me, I have enough patience, we can use Mario's dive move to spread it far and wide across any flat surface, letting us see that this stuff was never intended to interact with shadows. Mario also gets adorably coated in this stuff, which he can clean up with a spin jump or a dip in the ocean. Be careful not to get too carried away in the goo though. It will do damage to Mario if he spends too much time standing in it, and it's never really explained why? But it obviously can't be that deadly. I mean, we saw a little earlier, one of the Piantas got completely swallowed up in the stuff, and hey, that just looks like good honest fun. I say we get everyone in on it. With enough persistence and well-placed dives, we can completely coat the ground around anyone's feet, causing them to get swallowed up as well. There you go, nice and cozy. They even have different dialogue for when you clean them up. At least they do until they go back to having a bad attitude. You know, I'm gathering that perhaps being covered in goo isn't such a pleasant experience after all, but I'm also gathering that perhaps maybe it serves you right. Now cool off. Unfortunately, we can't just submerge anyone we want. Several NPCs in this game seem to have a flag in their code that makes them immune to being gooped. And that seems to be the case for the wanted poster guy, the ukulele guy, this pink lady, and tragically, Toadsworth and this other pink lady. All these other toads are absolutely fair game though, thank goodness. Let's see what they have to say when they're rescued. I mean, rudely withdrawn from their goo cocoon naps. Thanks, Mario! Thanks, Mario! Thanks, Mario! Thanks, Mario. Wow, bet you can't guess the last one. It's the thanks, Mario. Peach, remind me why we packed 5 identical generic toads? What about you? What have you got to say? Phew, I thought I was a goner. Hang on, this whole mess is your fault. My fault? Now you just hang on just a minute, Mr. Plant Man. You're being extremely disingenuous. Most of this, well, a lot of, I mean, at least a little of this was here before my plane landed. You can check the flight records. And how dare you besmirch my good name? Why, I oughta paint me as some kind of ne'er-do-well, will you? Now, just because Mario's such a nice altruistic guy, I'm gonna tackle this goo problem. And only because he's a nice guy, and certainly not because this mess has anything to do with him. Spray this throbbing mound of goop in the crater, and out will pop this guy. These things go by a couple official names, mainly proto-piranhas or polluted piranhas, and we're going to be fighting several versions as we go through the game. This first one is a really clever way to get us used to FLUDD's primary nozzle, which, I'm so sorry, is officially called the squirt nozzle, so that's what I'm going to call it. Sorry, I don't make the rules, I just selectively choose which ones to follow based on how funny they are. Now this pink guy is sunken into the ground, which makes it easy to shoot into his mouth without having to aim much. Just jump and squirt. And he'll go down in a Mario game's classic 3 hits. He doesn't even have an attack, he's really just target practice. Once he's down, everything else gets automatically righted, and everyone around here has new dialogue, except Ukelele Guy. You keep on vibing, Ukelele Guy. Most of them comment on the shiny, sparkly, twinkly thing that just showed up, so I guess we better check it out, and officially collect our very first shine.
Nice work, Mario.
Quite an unusual device. Is it some sort of pump?
I am FLUDD, glad to meet you. Hey, someone's coming.
Best part, now the cop is walking to the beat.
Court is now in session.
As you are no doubt aware, someone has been senselessly defacing Fair Isle Delfino using some paint-like substance. The accused is charged with polluting our beautiful home, and yes, endangering our very way of life.
God, you guys are so lucky I can't goop you right now. I won't stand for this flagrant defamation.
Indeed, how can one not be aware of what is going on? Though it is daytime in Delfino Plaza, our poor residents tremble beneath a veil of darkness. Expert shine scholars have determined that this darkness has arisen because all of our guardians, the shine sprites, have vanished from their gathering spot at the shine gate. The reason? It's quite obvious. This horrible graffiti is to blame. Behold this sketch of the perpetrator based on eyewitness descriptions. The truth is obvious. The guilty party sits among us. It is none other than Mario.
Objection!
Overruled. I judge the defendant guilty as charged. I hereby order the defendant to clean this entire island. Until Isle Delfino is completely free of his vile handiwork, Mario shall not be allowed to leave. Court adjourned.
Ayo, what the heck was that kangaroo court nonsense? The prosecution was the only one allowed to speak? What kind of court has a judge that can just unilaterally proclaim guilt? Just check the flight records. I was on the plane that just got here. They mentioned witnesses, but I sure didn't see any. It was literally just us.
That's why we call it justice, because it's just us.
In all honesty, this is actually a really cool way to deliver exposition to the player. It builds up intrigue, seeing as we know it is all someone else is doing, while conveying the key facts, the role of the shine sprites, the reason the goop is such an issue, and I genuinely do appreciate that they don't dwell on any kind of defense statement. It's not like anyone boots up Mario and actually wants to see a proper court proceeding. Go play Chrono Trigger, you frickin' nerds.
This appears to be quite a predicament, Mario. Data analysis verifies that the island's inhabitants are indeed troubled by pollution, but the pollution itself is not the main problem.
Unfortunately, I can't say as much good for this scene. FLUDD basically just repipes everything we learned so elegantly in the courtroom, with just a few embellishments. I'd say this is the one cutscene in this game that does overstay its welcome just a bit, if not for one thing. The piano piece playing underneath it genuinely goes pretty hard.
Has polluted the island and most of the shine sprites have fled. There is no longer any power to support the peaceful lifestyle of the islanders. It is most pitiable. The only way to ensure the return of the shine sprites is to keep the island from becoming any dirtier. The perpetrator is likely at work even as we speak. And you, Mario, are being treated as a criminal. Tomorrow we must do our best to resolve this situation.
I'll be honest, I'd look past some real gaming atrocities if they had good piano accompaniment.
Go straight that way. You can't miss the mesh now. You can't miss the mesh now. Your first job's to get rid of all that ugliness. And remember, we'll be watching you, pal. We'll know if you start slacking off.
Slack off? Waste time? Me? Never. Welcome to Delfino Plaza, to my mind nothing less than the most iconic hub world of them all. The music, the bustling islanders, the central ring of sunlight tracking your progress, the fruit! Delfino Plaza is going to get its own breakdown episode once we've unlocked everything, so I'm not going to go too deep into it right now, but everything around us is something. Spray these wanted posters for coins, spray these open windows for coins, these weather vanes, even the birds. Find well-hidden one-ups by checking nooks and crevices. Clean this graffiti, we'll get a secret blue coin. We'll get into these things later. We can explore the plaza's expansive store system. Jumping up from them launches us sky high, and there are even a number of secret shines we can get right now. Mario Sunshine honestly gets a lot of flack for being too linear. And yes, there are absolutely elements of the game that can railroad you, but there are also plenty of non-linear elements. Right now, before we even open the first major area, we can find and collect 10 different shines if you're willing to look. And even that's without any speedrunning out of bounds shenanigans, as the sky is literally the limit with those. It's such a sandbox, so many little joys to uncover. Want to wreak havoc on the fruit market? Sure, why not? Not a fan of the Ukelele Guy's song? Make him jam out. The game fully invites you to head off the main path here. FLUDD will even give you a number of context-sensitive tooltips on how to perform some of Mario's moves when you approach certain areas. But the Delfino Emergency Broadcast System, we'll call it DEBS, will always point you towards whatever's next. It's honestly a really unique vibe that basically half the people you can talk to absolutely revile you. Putting Mario on that kind of back foot and having so many locals just treat him as criminal scum, it just makes me want to roll up my sleeves and prove him wrong. Or right. Either way, we're gonna prove the heck out of them. So I suppose we better deal with another batch of goo. What's this one shaped like anyway? I've always thought pineapple, but I know a bunch of people say blooper. Either way, this brown goop is very different from the pink goop, especially as it's surrounded by an invisible goo-free barrier. We can only spread it far enough to goop a couple of people. This is unforgivable. At this rate, we're gonna make progress. Can you imagine? Oh, it also spawns these little jelly guys. Just like the big piranhas, these guys also have a few official names, including Swoop and Stews, but I'm really fond of the name Goobles, since these guys are basically Mario Sunshine's Goombas. And yeah, Mario Sunshine doesn't have actual Goombas, remarkably. Goobles will die to basically anything. Water, jumping, you can even slide through them and it does the trick. But as long as there's goo on the ground, they'll just keep coming. So we've got another proto-piranha to deal with. This one isn't sunk into the ground and intermittently closes his mouth, so the game is basically making sure we know how to use FLUDD's aim and squirt function. But apart from the Goobles, still no direct attacks, so he's just another bout of target practice.
Princess, look! On the statue's head!
Mario?
Peach, I am right here. Man, this game loves the Mario Bros. Underground theme. This is already the third remix we've heard of it so far. So Gooey Mario over here is making off with Peach, but honestly, come on, I'm on your side here, bro. Can't you tell? I even gooped the police, see? We can hang. It was weird being stuck in that goop. It was gross, but I gotta admit, it was kind of sweet. Kinda like candy. See? See? What did I say? It can't be that bad. Gooey Mario here is designed to be a test of FLUDD's run and squirt function, and also has no means of directly attacking. He'll just run you in circles until you man up and splash him. No big deal. One of the funniest things about this game though, if you manipulate the game's code to throw off Gooey Mario's route through the plaza, you can actually get him to drop Peach, and then you can pick her up and run around with her. See man, I told you, same side. Princess Peach has been kidnapped by Master Mario! I mean, by someone. Wah. So anyway, we splash some water on him, he runs off again, now Peachless, and honestly, I just love Peach's animation here. Can we appreciate this for a second? I also want to draw attention to Gooey Mario's animation while he waits for you. I've got nothing to say about it just now, but I will later, so I'm pointing it out. And with that, the mysterious Goo Man escapes into his artwork, so it's time to do the Mario and dive in after him. In the next episode, we're gonna break down Super Mario Sunshine's first proper world, Bianco Hills. But hey, before you go, I have something to ask of you. Mario Sunshine, as I'm sure you've realized, is a remarkably dense game filled to brimming with secrets and obscurities. I've done a lot of research and prep work to feel confident in starting this project, but I have no doubt I've missed something, maybe even hundreds of somethings. So, if there's anything you think is interesting or well hidden or even just funny about the mini levels to come, let me know about it down in the comments. And if you teach me something about the game, I will be more than happy to shout you out when we get there. Until then, if you don't want to wait to see me break down Bianco Hills, that episode is live right now on my Patreon, available regardless of your tier. My Patreons are genuinely awesome, and I appreciate them so much. Thank you, each and everyone, for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.